China puts down red lines ahead of possible Biden-Xi talks. Much of the world's gas comes from Hamas headquarters. Egyptian president rejects effort to push Palestinians to Egypt. Palace of Versailles and 8 French airports evacuated. Musk considers removing X platform from Europe over EU law. Putin accepts Vietnam's invitation to visit Hanoi soon. First ever live EU military exercise kicks off. U.S. reports deal with Egypt to restart aid to Gaza.
Hello, I'm Johnny. Thank you for joining us on Funday News. It's Friday, October 20th, and here are your top stories. Deputy Chief of the Chinese Embassy to the United States, Shi Shiyuan, said on Tuesday the U.S. must accept China's red lines, which are its core interests that include democracy and human rights, China's economic system and path to development, and the biggest core issue, Taiwan. She added, if these are not respected, it's impossible to work together on other issues. The remarks come amid as the two countries eye a possible meeting between President Joe Biden and Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping to try to thaw relations.
Speaking at the Institute for China-American Studies annual conference, Xu Shuiyuan recalled past achievements that were the product of the U.S.-China collaboration. She said, win-win, cooperation was needed again to address climate change, the Israel-Hamas conflict, artificial intelligence, and other issues. The diplomat said, however, there needs to be mutual respect, and the U.S. must accept China's red lines. The White House reportedly hopes for a Biden-Xi meeting, likely during the APEC summit in San Francisco in mid-November.
Hamas attacks on Israel and the continuing military response to them have given rise to many questions related to regional and global energy security in recent days. Prominent among them is the status of the government in Qatar and the country's exports of liquefied natural gas that serve as a vital source of sorely needed natural gas supplies across Asia, Europe, and the UK. But the questions surrounding Qatar arise chiefly from its strong ties to both Hamas and Iran, which serves as Hamas' major funder and sponsor.
Hamas maintains its head office in Qatar's capital city of Doha and has received between $360 million to $480 million annually in recent years from the Qatari government. Qatar's strong ties to both Hamas and Iran give rise to concerns it could become entangled in the response by Israel and the U.S. to the terrorist attacks. Any major escalation of this conflict between Israel and Hamas that threatens to disrupt that flow comes with wide-ranging global economic and energy security implications.
Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi on Wednesday said millions in his country are ready to protest if Palestinians are forced into Egypt, warning that such a move could turn it into a launchpad for terrorist attacks against Israel, jeopardizing peace between the two countries. According to a Reuters translation, el-Sisi said, Egypt rejects any attempt to resolve the Palestinian issue by military means or through the forced displacement of Palestinians from their land.
The Egyptian leader added that the Sinai could then become a base of operations for militants to launch terrorist attacks against Israel, which would in turn blame Egypt for such attacks. El-Sisi said that the Egyptian people would go out and protest in their millions, if called upon to do so, against the forced displacement of Gaza's residents into the Sinai. He instead proposed that the Palestinians be moved to the Negev, a desert in southern Israel, until the militants are dealt with.
France is on high alert after experiencing a string of security scares that have prompted evacuations across the country. French news agency AFP reported that French officials evacuated at least 4 airports on Wednesday following email bomb threats and sightings of unattended luggage. AFP said France's Directorate General for Civil Aviation confirmed evacuations over bomb warnings at the airports in Lille, Lyon, Toulouse, and Beauvais near Paris.
The media said that the Palace of Versailles was also evacuated Wednesday, the third time in less than a week, following similar security concerns. The 17th-century palace had already been emptied on Saturday for a bomb threat and Tuesday due to a suspicious item. The Louvre Museum was also cleared out Saturday over similar security concerns. All of the threats so far have been deemed false, though it has yet to be determined if they are related to Friday's attack or Israel-Palestine tensions.
News site Insider reported on Wednesday that Elon Musk, owner of social media platform X, is considering to remove the service formerly called Twitter from Europe in response to a new internet platform regulation in the region. A person familiar with the company told the publication the billionaire has discussed removing the app's availability in the region or blocking users in the European Union from accessing it. The move comes amid the crackdown on misinformation by the European Union.
The European Union in August adopted the Digital Services Act, DSA, which sets forth rules for preventing the spread of harmful content, banning or limiting certain user targeting practices, and sharing some internal data with regulators and associated researchers, among other things. Almost immediately after the attack by Hamas, the European Commission responded to the surge in false information by issuing a series of stern warnings to major tech companies, including Meta, X, TikTok, and YouTube.
According to a post on Vietnam's government website, Russian President Vladimir Putin accepted an invitation from Vietnam's President Vo Van Thon to visit the Southeast Asian country soon. According to the statement, the leaders met during China's Belt and Road Forum in Beijing. Putin also invited his Vietnamese counterpart to visit Russia at an appropriate time. The statement said the leaders also discussed expanding cooperation in trade, security, defense, technology, and education.
President Vo said that Vietnam has always considered Russia one of its most important partners and the country looks to enhance its comprehensive strategic partnership with Russia. Bloomberg said the visits would follow President Joe Biden's trip to Hanoi in September, during which Vietnam formally upgraded ties with the U.S. to a comprehensive strategic partnership, Vietnam's highest diplomatic relationship level and one previously reserved for China, Russia, India, and South Korea.
Some 2,800 troops are this week taking part in the first ever live European Union military exercise in a bid to boost the bloc's ability to respond faster to crises outside its borders. 31 units, including maritime, air, land, space, and cyber assets from Austria, France, Hungary, Ireland, Italy, Malta, Portugal, Romania, and host country Spain are taking part in the week-long military exercise. Planning is already on the way for the next round, with Germany expected to lead, scheduled for the second half of 2024.
The EU's High Representative Josep Borrell said the aim of the live military exercise is to boost readiness and interoperability between EU countries' armies as well as to advance towards the creation of a so-called rapid deployment capacity with other scenarios for exercises including rescue and evacuation, support for humanitarian assistance and disaster relief. He added these new exercises will boost the EU's ability to act faster, to respond to crises outside the EU.
The U.S. said Egypt agreed to reopen its border crossing with the Gaza Strip to allow aid to reach Palestinians as the humanitarian crisis worsened for the 2.3 million people trapped in the enclave. While flying home from a less than 8-hour visit to Israel, U.S. President Joe Biden discussed aid for Gaza with Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi by phone late on Wednesday. Biden told reporters that Sisi agreed to open the Rafah crossing from Egypt to Gaza to allow about 20 trucks carrying humanitarian aid into the enclave.
People in Gaza are desperately short of food, water, fuel, and other essentials after Israel unleashed a blockade and airstrikes 12 days ago. While the agreement was a breakthrough, the flow of relief will still fall short of the perceived need. During Biden's visit, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office said Israel would let food, water, and medicines reach southern Gaza via Egypt. Biden was due to speak from the White House at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Thursday about the U.S. response to Hamas attacks against Israel.
The answer for yesterday was A, omnivorous. She has always been an omnivorous reader. Did you answer correctly? Now let's delve into the news of much of the world's gas coming from Hamas headquarters. Number 1, give rise to something. 造成导致某事. So many things concur to give rise to the problem. Number 2, liquefied, 液化的. Liquefy, 使液化. You can liquefy the carbon dioxide to separate it from the other constituents. Number 3, sponsor, 宣导者、赞助商. The race organizers are trying to attract sponsors. Next, we have a multiple choice question for everyone to practice. Which answer would you choose? You can write your answer in the comment section. The correct answer will be announced next time. And that's all for today's Funday News. Be sure to tune into Funday News from Monday to Friday and click the link below to join Funday for free. I'm Johnny Wu, your host. I'll see you next time.